Zone of the Enders for PlayStation 2. Now this, originally, I think all the hype behind it started with, it had the Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty demo disc inside, and it was made by Hideo Kojima. So, that was pretty cool, and I personally, I liked this and I hated it at the same time. I thought the game's pace was way too fast. Like, you think there was going to be some kind of major story arc to open up, but it never happens. The main character is one of the most infuriating little bastards I've ever seen. But, because he's so whiny, and he's like, oh, I don't know what to do. He's like worse than Shinji Hikari from Evangelion, if that's possible. But, once again, the gameplay saves the day. And, I don't know, by the end, the characters kind of grew on me, but I think it was a prologue to something great, but I have yet to play the second one, so what can I say? Alright, crack number 1, Super Street Fighter 4. I played the hell out of this. Now, I played a lot of Street Fighter 4, but this game was totally worth the upgrade. $40 for 10 new characters, bonus stages, better online, rebalancing, and just overall better experience. Characters from Street Fighter Alpha, and particularly Street Fighter 3, that was a great inclusion, and I just really enjoy this game. My favorite fighter right now, although I wonder how that'll be when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 comes out. Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII for PSP. My friend Sophie gave me this for free. That was so nice. Thanks, Sophie. Thank you. But, honestly, this game was just the ideal prequel. Like, I felt Advent Children was not really a necessary sequel, but it was nice, but I felt like this perfectly complemented the first game in every way. Because it took place in the world that was already established. Characters like Aerith and Sung get more fleshed out. You get to see more behind Zack and even Cloud and Sephiroth. Like, seeing Sephiroth as not an insane villain was pretty interesting. And if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan or an action RPG fan, I'd highly recommend this. Very fantastic game. Super Mario Galaxy 2. Now, what can I say about this game that hasn't been said already? Except, well, you know, I liked it. I liked it a lot. And this isn't even technically mine, it's my girlfriend's, but I played it a lot. And, I didn't even think it would be possible to improve on what Mario Galaxy 1 did, but, you know, that's Nintendo for you. They did it. Easier to use level select screen, more power-ups, inclusion of Yoshi, and increased difficulty. This was just a great game. I really enjoyed it. Now, I gotta admit, I liked going around the observatory in the first game, but after being in the game a few times, you just want to get to the levels and get to the game. And I really enjoyed that. And I really liked the way they handled prankster comments in this game. It wasn't so random. You pretty much just had to collect the comet medal, and you can get the prankster comment later. And I'm really grateful that not every level had the purple coin challenge. That was really nice. As well as, after you collect all 120 stars, you can get the green stars, which is basically a scavenger hunt, but, you know, those are extras for people who want it. And that's exactly what an extra should be. Optional. So, I thought it was really good. It's definitely worthy of being Game of the Year material for a lot of people. Valkyria Chronicles, the other game that basically distracted me from the March Gamers Challenge. Now, this is one of the games that I'm just so glad I got a PS3 for, because you won't find this on any other system. It's basically a war story, but it's done so well. It's done with kind of like a watercolor style artwork, and it works in HD somehow. I don't know how they did it, but they did a great job. But the most important thing is the combat. It combines third-person shooter, turn-based RPG, and a little bit of real-time strategy. I thought this game was just done so well, and I'm really excited to play the sequel on PSP, though admittedly I kind of wish it was on the PS3. But, whatever. This is definitely one of the best RPGs of this generation. Seriously. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. Check it out. Castle Crashers for the PlayStation Network. Now, okay, little backstory here. Before I got my PS3, I was debating one way or the other each day what I wanted, the Xbox 360 or the PS3. Because I already had a Wii. That was the experience I wanted. But I wanted the other experience. And this was the very first time where I've had such a hard time choosing a console. Because they're so similar. I mean, come on, you can nitpick one way or the other as much as you like, but the fact is they're really close. and they're really similar in features. But I ultimately ended up picking the PS3 because it had more of the exclusives games that I wanted to play, and I didn't want to pay for online. But that aside, Castle Crashers was one of those games on Xbox that I really wanted to play, and I was so bummed out that I would never get a chance to play it. But then Behemoth announced that they were going to bring it to the PlayStation Network, and of course, day one, I downloaded it. And I can honestly say, all nostalgia aside, this is probably the best side-scrolling beat-em-up ever. Now, you could argue that as much as you'd like, but what I mean is, it has the best features from all of the previous best side-scrolling beat-em-ups, and thus, you have the most for your money. And that's what I mean. And, I mean, come on, let's see. References to Double Dragon with the princesses and fighting. You got combos from Streets of Rage, you got weapons from Golden Axe, magic from Golden Axe, 4-player co-op from the arcade, and just so much more. And not to mention all the unlockable characters. It's just fantastic. Probably one of the best downloadable titles you could get. Whether you own an Xbox or a PS3, and you like side-scrolling beat-em-ups, get it. Okay, Kingdom Hearts, Birth by Sleep. This is the other reason I got a PSP, along with Mega Man powered up. Now, I am a big Kingdom Hearts fan, but I don't necessarily buy every single game. I mean, honestly, so far, the only ones I really haven't gotten are Roxas's 358 Days Over 2, and then the upcoming Kingdom Hearts Recoded for DS, which I don't care about. But I knew this was going to be a full-blown prequel with new levels, new characters, and new combat system, and portable. So I honestly had a lot of hype to live up to, and I honestly was, wondering how it would all pan out. And it lived up to all of my expectations, and then some. It really was that good. You basically play as one of the 3 characters, and you go through their stories. And each scenario plays out its own separate way, and it's cool because since there's no overall narration, you never really know what the other characters' motivations and feelings are until you play their stories. And I thought it was really done well, particularly the combat system. It kind of took a middle ground between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and then added its own flavor. By that I mean, you have the accessibility of Kingdom Hearts 2, but Kingdom Hearts 1 in terms of basic combat, like, for example, in the first game you could use Sonic Blade and Ars Arcanum, and you would press the reaction command at the right time, and it balanced that with the accessibility of Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 had mashing the triangle button for the win way too much for me. And you could also customize weapons and spells, or rather customize spells. You can get melee spells, you can get really awesome spells, and just basically make whatever you want. And a lot of depth for a little game here. Very impressive. Okay, Blaze Blue, Continuum Shift for PS3. Basically Blaze Blue 2. This is the one fighting game where I'm in it for the story. This is the only fighting game I know that since it doesn't involve a tournament of any kind, and the actual story is genuinely interesting and has a lot of plot twists and turns. But the game itself is also really fun. The sequel to Calamity Trigger, and made by the people who made Guilty Gear, this is just a fantastic fighting game, but not really my favorite. It's a lot of other people's favorite, and it's a fantastic game, but I don't know. I grew up on Street Fighter. Definitely love it, though. And last but not least, if I had to pick a Game of the Year, I would pick this, Borderlands Game of the Year Edition. Haha, it's a pun. No, really, this game is just, this is crack. This is one of my most favorite games of this year. Although, even if I were to do a Game of the Year awards, I wouldn't technically be able to have this be eligible, since the original Borderlands came out in 2009. But let's read the back here. Action RPG meets first-person shooter. And when I heard about that in a magazine and online, I knew I had to play this game, because those two things together, how could that not work? And it was going to be awesome, and it turned out to be just as awesome as I thought, if not more so. Partially because of the humor. Alright, for example, you go to the med vendor, Dr. Zed, and one of the quotes he says is, "Who needs doctors when you have my machines and their scary needles?" It's just really funny. But a game like this, requires just solid gameplay, and it does. They have a first-person shooter. You go around with one of 4 character classes: the Berserker, the Siren, the Hunter, or the Soldier. They all have their different attributes and special abilities, but and you level up those abilities, but you ultimately just go around shooting things. And I may have said this in the past, but in case I hadn't, I was never a huge console first-person shooter guy. I mean, I played Half-Life 2 on the computer, and I loved that, but I really couldn't get used to the dual analog control. But I sucked it up for this game, and I really wanted to play it, and I've gotten used to it, and I've gotten pretty good at this game. Not good enough to like be really awesome online, but good enough for me. And this is definitely one of my all-time favorite games of this year, or rather, last year, since it's now 2011. So anybody who hasn't played Borderlands and you're mildly interested, get this version, Game of the Year edition. It's really awesome. Anyway, that's my list of games I completed in 2010. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed, and who knows, maybe I'll do this again this time next year. Take care.